Hi, it's Donna Robertson with Fabric Cafe. Welcome to another segment of our virtual quilt show videos. We are so glad that you joined us. Today we're going to be talking about selecting patterns and fabric to go together. Sometimes you have a Civil War fabric and you stand there and look at it and you say, well, I've made enough of these or enough of those, but I'd like to do something a little different with that Civil War fabric. So which pattern do you choose to go with that? And then how about if you have a bright and cheerful fabric? Would you put it in a pattern that you might normally use with Civil War? Let's take a look at some quilts today and we'll see what you think, and you get to give your opinion as we go into matching fabric types and quilt patterns. So we're going to start with a traditional pattern. It's called the 9-patch. A lot of people, this is the first pattern that they ever make, is a 9-patch. They're super simple and easy to make, and some people have even come into our booths at shows and said, I don't need a pattern for a 9-patch. That was the first thing that I learned to do. And I just simply say, that is true. You already know how to make a 9-patch. But with a 3-yard quilt pattern, you don't have to worry about how many pieces to cut. And you always know you just need 3 1-yard cuts of fabric, and you can make a quilt this big. And this one's a really nice size one. And everything that you see on the front, your borders, your binding, and your quilt top is all made with just 3 1-yard cuts of fabric. Now this one's a really nice, soft, kind of a pink and brown and beige quilt, and we really like that a lot. I do not have that fabric, but I do have some other fabric to share with you.
You have this. No, you don't.
I
I'm
don't.
sorry.
That's okay.
My head. I saw it in the fabrics that you picked out. That's
Okay. Well, we're going to show you some different fabric. Now, this is the fabric that we have selected for this particular quilt. And I think you're going to like this a lot because I know I do. And I have some pieces and parts to share with you. So these are pretty traditional Civil War fabrics that you're looking at here. And I had a lot of fun pulling these together because you have that wonderful country red looking, I don't know, I'm not real good with my names. I know there's a, a turkey gold that is in a lot of the Civil War, but this one's just kind of a brick red, and it has that cute little paisley in there. And then we picked up this cool little pattern. It's actually called Brick Street, this little pattern that's in here. It's just a tiny little print. And then we continue with that brick red here. Now, this is a great Civil War fabric, and we thought we'd put it in a nice Civil War traditional pattern. And I made some pieces and parts to share with you. So here's your 9-patch. Let's get my cropping tool. So here's the 9-patch, and we've made 2 different 9-patches. So let's look at this. So here's one. This has your focus fabric and your number 2 fabric made into strip sets and then cut for this particular block. Then the other block 9-patch, we're going to move this right down here, John. And this one is made with your number 2 fabric and your number 3 fabric. So these will end up being a 9-patch that has a little bit of a contrast going on, but it is going to be great. So now let's put this together. And I did this a little bit differently. I put the number 1 fabrics with the number 3 fabrics, and we're making our little strip sets here. So you can see how this one is turning out. I need to be a little bit taller, don't I? And then with this one, we used the number 2 with the number 1, and we came out with this combination. Isn't that great? Look at this. So here are your pieces put together so you can get a good idea of what your quilt is going to look like when you make it up with these 3 fabrics. So that's your 9-patch made with Civil War fabrics. Okay, we're going to put this over here. That'll give you your number and your information. So once again, you've got your focus fabric, your number 2, and your number 3 fabric. And it's just so cool when you have 3 1-yard cuts of fabric. You can put any fabric in any position, and it comes out looking great. So here's your focus, your number 2, and your number 3. Your kit number is 8020202. Lots of 2 O's. 2020. Here's your 9-patch pattern. And this is available in the 9-patch individual pattern. It's also available in the download book called Quilt Favorites. If you're ordering 3 kits and taking a book free and you want this particular pattern, it is in the Quilt Favorites book, but it's only available as a download. Okay, the next quilt that we have, now this is a fairly modern looking quilt here. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you some things that where you might have more modern pattern, but you could still use Civil War. So where the other one had a lot of little pieces, and the Civil War era, they had a lot of, the quilts had a lot of small pieces. And I think one reason is because they primarily used scraps and pieces and parts. I don't think people were actually buying a whole lot of fabrics in the yardage at that time to make a quilt. So let's put that one up here. This one's called Overnight Success. We don't have that fabric available, but we have a wonderful fabric here. Excuse me, I dropped a pattern. And this one is also a pretty Civil War looking fabric. It has still your small prints. And this one has the roses. And then we have this pretty little green paisley. This is a really interesting paisley here. It's like a flower blooming. And then we also have the teal. Oh, I look good with this today. I'm wearing green and teal. So what you would do with this, and your fabric number 1 would go right here in this particular square. Your fabric number 2 would go in the alternate square right over here. And then I would put the green right here in between. I'm sorry, I didn't say that right. Put the teal right here. So you've got these 2 in your blocks. They complement each other, and then they're separated by the teal. So it would be your focus, your number 2, and your number 3. This particular kit is 8020594. It's called Southern Belle. It's made with the Overnight Sensation pattern, and that's only available in the Easy Does It book. So we are offering a different suggestion, which is using Skip to My Lou, which is also a little bit more modern looking pattern that you could still use Civil War with. It would be pretty cool. So basically what I'm showing you today, the options that you're seeing, that you can put just about any pattern with any fabric and it would look good. So if you're not in the mood to making a pattern that's got a lot of little pieces, but you want to use some Civil War fabric, they still look good in the big pieces. Okay, this particular quilt is called Illusions. This one is from my Modern Views book, and I really enjoyed making this one, and it's so fun the way that the different blocks change. They almost look like they have, they're in a different size depending whether they're light or dark, because color hits your eye in a different way. So your reds are going to hit your retina faster than your creamy colors that kind of fall to the back. So let's put that one up here. And we do have a patriotic fabric that we think you will enjoy. I know I like this one. I guess this is a paisley sort of day. Mm-hmm. Let's see, we've had 3 paisleys in a row.
You can never have enough paisley.
Well, that's true. I do like paisley. So this is another little paisley in kind of a brick red color. Once again, this is sort of your coloration that you might have found in the Civil War fabrics. Then you have your cream as your number 2, and your number 3 fabric is this great dusky blue. So it's pretty simple to see how this one would work into this pattern, because you would just put your red where you see red, you would put your cream where you see the cream, and the blue where you see the blue. So this one is called Country Home. It's using the Illusion pattern, which is available as an individual pattern, and it's also available as in the book Modern Views. Now, I keep referring to the book, and I just want to point out that we're talking about patterns that are available in my 3-yard quilt books. We do have 9 different books. 7 of those books are in print and 2 of them are download only. But when you buy 3 kits, you can pick one of these books as your freebie. Or if you buy individual patterns, quilt kits, you can just take a single pattern with each kit that you purchase. The pattern comes free. You buy 3 kits, and you would always select the book deal when you want one of those books. Okay, let's put this one over here. Okay, the next one is, this one is a sunflower quilt made with the windmill pattern. And I would say that windmill is a little more modern looking quilt as well. So we're going to show you more Civil War fabrics, but just try to imagine it in this particular pattern. And that one is called Golden Harvest that we're going to show you now. Okay. And you remember I talked a little bit, they used this kind of a yellow golden color a lot in the Civil War fabrics. It was a lot of the contrasting colors. So this one has a pretty little flower. They did have a lot of small prints in that era as well. Excuse me. This is your number 1 fabric, and your number 1 fabric always falls into your largest position on your quilt. So if you look at it this way, you're going to put your gold flower right here where the sunflower is. We do not have this fabric available. Then you'd use this cream in the number 2 spot, and you would use the green where that red is. So you have your focus fabric, your number 2 position, and your number 3 position. Now I'm going to show you, well, I'm going to wait till the next one and I'll show you that. Okay, here's your number. It's 8020596. It's Golden Harvest. The name of the pattern is Windmill, and that pattern is available in the Quilts for Kids book. I'm going to take a little drink of water. Okay. Okay, this one is decidedly modern. It is actually on the cover of my book, Modern Views. And it's a good example of one of the things that I like to do with stripes. It's a great way to use striped fabric. I have taught a class called Fear Not the Stripes because so many people are afraid to use stripes, but they really do add a lot of interest and a lot of movement to your quilt designs. So this one is called Gallery, and I thought it kind of looked like those, that was during the period of time whenever I was seeing a lot of the pictures that had ribbons between. So you've seen some arrangements like that. And so I called it Gallery. I thought, well, it's kind of like an art gallery. You can actually put some pretty cool fabric in those squares and then make it look like it's a picture. So let's talk about that particular pattern. As I'm referring to the patterns, I keep saying fabric 1, 2, and 3. So if you're new to my way of quilting, I always give you a black and white diagram, and you're going to get little legends here that shows you fabric 1, fabric 2, and fabric 3. So you can then look at your black and white and see that your fabric 1 pattern is representing your largest print. The 2 fabrics that are left over are then compared to one another, and you get your light and your dark. And so that's how you always select your fabrics. Then over here, we give you your cutting instructions for each one of those sizes. Okay, so this next fabric that we have some more pieces and parts, and we'll show you how this goes. So remember, once again, I said that your largest print goes in your number 1 spot. So if you look at these 3 fabrics, none of them are especially large and in your face, so to speak. But this one is the largest print, so I put it in my number 1 position for this pattern. Then my number 2 fabric, I compare with these 2, and I put my lightest in the number 2 position, my darkest in the number 3 position. Now, the reason that I do that is because of the way the patterns are designed. It will, whatever your focus fabric is, these two are positioned in such a way that it really makes your design pop. Now, you'll look over here at this one, and you can see the stripes are in the number 3 position here, where here's your focus, this is your lightest, and this is your darkest. So here, this is your focus, this is your lightest, and that's your darkest. So your stripe is actually going to fall in this section, not out here. So let's show you how that works. So with these, we have our little blocks made up. So let me pull this over here. So here's my block. And if I scoot this back over, you can see here's the focus, here's your light, and here's your dark. So this one, see, doesn't that look great with your stripes going around that? And then we have our joining block. And just for the fun of it, because I just couldn't stop, I made you some extra blocks here. So this one goes here, and this one goes here. Now let's crop that out so you can see what it looks like. It's pretty easy to see down there on the bottom, but we'll put this like this, and this like this, and that gives you a good idea of what this one looks like. So once again, you've got your focus, you've got your light, and you've got your dark, and you have a great looking quilt. So this one is very much a Civil War looking fabric without, but going into a modern quilt. All right, so the number on this one is 8020333. It's called Jasper, and it's from the Modern Views book. So this is your Modern Views book. And then we also have it available as a pattern. So if you're buying 3 kits, you can pick the Modern Views book as your freebie. Or if you just want 1 kit, you can take the individual pattern. So you can choose, you get to choose. And any pattern works with any fabric. So with these 8 patterns, you also get your twin and your king-queen instructions, so you can enlarge. 1 kit makes a lap, 2 makes a twin, 4 will make a king-queen. Okay, this particular quilt is called City Lights. And City Lights is, which book is this one in? Fast and Fun. So City Lights is in the Fast and Fun, and we do have this fabric available. Did we write?
I did not write a label, I just realized, but I know the kit name is Beautiful Bloom.
Okay. And you can also search on City Lights, and that's in the keywords, so you can also look for all the quilts that are made out of City Lights as well. So this is the big block, your fabric number 1, or your focus fabric. And I think for Civil War fabrics, unless you have a big a floral or something like that, I think they look better in little smaller pieces. So even though I was showing you the Civil War fabrics and the modern quilt patterns, they still were smaller pieces. But now we have a big bloom, so let's show you this one. I think you're going to really like this. So this one would look great in City Lights. First of all, you've got your big floral. Isn't that gorgeous? And that would go right here in your large block. So that's your fabric number 1. Your fabric number 2 has the botanical writing. I really like that. It's very pretty. And then the fabric number 3 is a companion fabric that would look great in your border and in your little stepping blocks here. So your writing would go out here in the number 2 position. Your little wildflower companion piece is out here in this section. And this is from the book. That pattern, City Lights, is from Fast and Fun. It's only available as a pattern in a book. It's not available as an individual. So for the alternative pattern, we recommend So Quick. So again, any pattern and any 3 yards will work together, but we do give you suggestions in case you're not familiar with our particular patterns. And if you're not familiar with the patterns, you might want to go over to our website and click on the free goodies button, download the sheet called My Pattern Collection Sheet, and you can actually see all of our patterns, and you can see which patterns are in books and which books have no patterns available as individuals. Okay, this one is called Sugar Pie. Now, we showed Sugar Pie in one of our last segments made with a real bright, colorful fabric, and this time we're going to be showing it and putting a little Civil War print in it. This is going to be a last chance, this particular one. We only have 2 of those left, and we will show you that in just a minute. But the Sugar Pie is a very sweet fabric. I really like that. And it has this great grouping here, which is just a little vine with a pretty little flower on it. And then that would be your focus fabric. And that focus fabric, we're going to move it right over here, would go in your large print or your large area. Your number 2 fabric is your background. And this is a great example of seeing how your light fabric will fall to the back and really accentuate the design in the quilt. That's really important with mine because that's just the way I design them, so you can see those designs. Because you're only using 3 fabrics, you really have to depend on that light, medium, and dark in order to get the quilt design to pop. Now, in this case, this was your number 3 fabric, so we're going to pull this back so you can see how great that matches, and this will be your number 3 position for that wonderful rusty brown that we have in there. So this one is called 8020570 Country Trellis. Sugar Pie is your pattern. That one is available in the book Pretty Darn Quick. It's also available as an individual, so you get to choose which. Now we'll leave that up there just 1 second. Now this is a last chance, but there is a change in fabric, so we'll look at this. And we ran out of this polka dot, but we found this great blue substitute, so you'll get a very similar look. And this is your number 1 fabric. I'm going to scoot it over so you can see. These are identical. This is just a little different blue that really coordinates with this well. That's your number 2 fabric and your number 3 fabric. So this one is called Sweetness. It's the Sugar Pie pattern from Pretty Darn Quick, and it's a last chance. We only have 2 of these left, and this is your pattern, available either in the book Pretty Darn Quick or as an individual pattern. Okay, now for a more traditional pattern rather than the little more modern looking patterns. This is a little more traditional design with the Friendship Star. But look at that wonderful bright and cheery fabric. I love this quilt. This one was on the cover of my very first book, Quick and Easy 3-Yard Quilts. So we've kept it to show periodically because we want you to know that it doesn't matter which fabric you put in those quilts. They just look great. So we'll put that up here, and we've got some really bright and cheery, and I think that you're going to like these a lot. This one is called Tropical Bliss. Look at those. Talk about a pop of color. After looking at the warm, down-home country look of the Civil War fabrics, we're going right into, wow. So this one is great, and you'd put this big, beautiful tropical print in this big block. And then your fabric number 2 would be where the green is here. So you'd have this wonderful corally red going in here, and your blue would then be in this section here. So it would be a beautiful, bright, cheery. That would bring a smile to your face on a dreary day like we were having. Was it yesterday that the sun never came out? Now, we live in Texas. We like sunshine. Okay, this is the Friendship Star pattern. It is available as an individual pattern. It's also available in our book, Quick and Easy, but that is only a downloadable book. We no longer have it in print. So if you wanted to get Quick and Easy 3-yard quilts as your freebie, all you have to do is order 3 kits and put that name in your comment section. We will send you a code and you'll be able to download it. Okay, this one is, of course, this is one of my favorite. This is one of my lines, and we're real excited that we still have just a little bit of this. We bought a ton, but it has been so very popular that we still have a little. But I'm telling you that it's starting to go. What this one is called is Friends. It's called Circle of Friends, and the fabric says Friends and Family. I love the coloration and the matching, very, very modern, but it's in an old-fashioned kind of a pattern. So it's kind of fun to see how you can take an old-fashioned pattern but use a little more modern print. So let's put that up here, and we'll look at these fabrics up close. So yeah, I don't know how many of these we have left, but I know we're getting slim pickings because I can no longer order this. So if you've been eyeballing the Friends and Family, I really encourage you to order one of these. It would make a great gift this Christmas for someone to let them know you love them. So this is your focus fabric, and as you can see, it says family, it says love, friends. You know, we've all got those special people in our lives that we want to say thank you for being there for us. This is the vine that I chose to put with the basic color, and you see I've got a little purple berry in there, and that's to help coordinate with that darker color on the back in the fabric number 3. So beautiful fabrics. We've got fabric 1, 2, and 3. It's 801957, Family and Friends. It's the Heartland pattern. That's available in pretty darn quick, and it's also available as an individual pattern. So you can choose, again, either a free book when you order 3 kits, or you can take an individual pattern. Now, our last chance of the day. There are only 4 of these left, and it has been a very popular one. And again, it's one of those that if you've got somebody that doesn't want the bright, cheery fabrics, they can always do a pretty Civil War fabric like this one. And this one is called using the hopscotch pattern, and this one's called Mint Waltz. And the hopscotch is either in the Quilt Favorites. That's another one of our downloadable books. And here's the pattern. We only have 4 of these left. And remember, if you want to make it larger than a lap size, then 2 kits make a twin, and 4 kits will make a king queen. And that is the end of this particular line of fabric. We will be out at that point. So I hope you've enjoyed today, seeing that it really doesn't matter which pattern you use. If you like the pattern and you like the fabric, it's going to go together. And so it's fun to see those Civil War and a little bit different design, pattern design. And it's fun to see the bright and cheery fabrics put into a more traditional type pattern. We hope that you've enjoyed today's show, and please be sure to join us on Thursday at 2 o'clock, where I'll be doing a live segment of the Free Spirit Inspired By. We will be putting that line up on our Facebook to remind you, and we hope that you'll join us there. We will have somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour of live video, and I have 9 brand new quilts to share with you. They are made with patterns that you may be familiar with, but they are beautiful new fabrics from Kay Facette, who will be they won't be out until the first part of the year, but we're starting early to show those. So thanks for joining us. It's Donna Robertson with Fabric Cafe. Have a great evening. Bye.